Good morning, and you are here today for France versus Wales at the 4Nations tournament held in Birmingham. I am Captain Malice. Alongside me, for the first time ever, the wonderful Snoogans.
Gracias, senor.
I have no language skills.
Yeah, that's about the extent of mine.
We are going to be upstanding shortly for the national anthems. I believe we're starting with France. But quickly, let's have a quick look at the teams here. We have got all manner of skaters in front of us, and oh, no. We are going to go with the Wales. 1 second. And we'll now have the national anthem for Wales. Those are your national anthems for the respective teams here. So let's quickly run through the teams. And for France in the wonderful blue, we have number 00 Mirage, 101 Dr. Whoosh, number 11 Skin NX, 129 Rocket Bush, 1631 Declina, 17 Spider Biscuit, number 18 Charlie Coyer, number 31 Angry Bear, 511 Toru Ninja, 789 Bruce Wu Light, 909 Paul Dance, 951 Bernie Nohel, 96 Freaky Vincent, and number 0 Candace Hero.
Up for Team Wales, we've got number 1 is Luke Manwaring, number 17 is Marcus Jenkins, 254 Reece Jones, 26 Martin Swift, 2828 is Luke Ashton, 34 Terence Cronick, 36 Ben Phillips, 4 James Moore, 43 James Clark, number 7 Peter Butler, 79 Cliff Osborne, 8055 Paul Burrows, 88 Paul Lewis, and 918 is Jay Clutterbuck. And we are in action.
We are in action, and the cleaner has the star for France, and he is up against, I believe that is 254 Reece Jones with the star for Wales. But firstly, Jammer going to France.
The cleaner managing to find that gap on the inside line to pick up that lead. Jammer. Oh, that was tight on that line.
That was very tight. I did love the OPR there. Duncan Disorderly giving a good solid nod to his inside jam ref. letting him know. But the cleaner calls a jam as Mr. Clark takes his trip to the bin. First blood to the French, and I believe that is 3 points indicated there by the jam referee.
Good to see that these guys are awake and active at this time on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm struggling. It is, for those of you watching this on the delay, this is 10 a.m. GMT in Birmingham, and it is cold and wet, and yeah, it's a tough one. But we have here with the Stars, I believe it is number 36, Ben Phillips, up against 129 Rocket Bush. Rocket Bush out first, but Ben Phillips out faster.
Looks
Oh
like
no, foot race.
Oh, jammer race, possibly some jammer on jammer action.
My
These
money
guys
is on Ben Phillips in this situation. He is strong. Rocket Bush, though, does get through. Jam called
2 points apiece.
2-2.
So France still with that slight lead. 5 points plays to just over 28 minutes.
Yeah, Osborne here with the star for Wales. He did not play the first game. So this is his first game for Wales, this little tournament. Interesting player is Cliff, the mechanic Osborne. Sometimes he's too aggressive, sometimes he's not aggressive enough. And I've never seen him quite strike that balance right yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing your skate here. Straight on to the back of Angry Bear, but cannot find some space around the outside. Tries to dive to the inside, trying to find space through the middle. Angry Bear takes a stumble, and Cliff Osborne trying to find some place. Finds space on the outside. Lead Jammer, right, a big hit. And a second. And Lead Jammer goes to Osborne, and he took 2 big hits and bounced them off.
Yeah, Scarenex picking up a forearms penalty, followed to the box by 101 Dr. Whoosh. Meanwhile, Osborne picking up a natural grand slam. Paul Dance yet to make his initial pass. As I say it becomes true.
The mechanic there, Osborne sliding through with ease there. The reduced French numbers helping. This one's going to be a scrappy one.
Paul Dance with an apex jump. Did he land that? He did, collecting
4 points.
4 points, very nice indeed.
He was shut down when he was trying to go through, but he did land it just cleanly. Ashton here, with the star for Wales. I believe is number 18 for France, which is Charlie Coeur.
We do have ourselves an early lead change. France now 9 points, Wales with 11.
Excellent. Also, the penalty box seeing plenty of business.
Oh, yes. It's almost like a Greg's bake sale up in there.
Ashton doing some defensive jamming there, feeding into Chronic and Peter Butler, who have played together for the better part of 4 years and know each other like brothers, I believe is probably the best way of putting it. But Chalico able to find space and make his way out as Ashton just about stays inbounds and upright and on his way.
Chalico making his way through on that first scoring pass, calling the jam, which means we're going to have ourselves another lead change. Yep. I get the feeling that we're going to have a lot of this back and forth between these two teams.
As of yesterday, I was calling this game as potentially the closest one on the scoreboards.
Yep.
But I believe that Wales will pip France on the basis I think that Wales brings such a different game to the French game.
Yes.
And I think it will unnerve them. The Wales bring that really hyper-aggressive physical game. They're not afraid to throw the big hit. They enjoy throwing the big hit at the times.
Indeed.
But they're also individually very skilled skaters. And I think that confuses a lot of people. They expect the big hitting teams to not be as skilled with the skate skills that Wales have been with players like, he's not skating today, but Ashby, Ashton, Chronic, Clark, Rhys Jones, Manwaring, Burrows. Burrows is 49 years old, and he is by far one of the most ridiculously talented skaters here. He's been skating since, I remember him telling me, he built his first pair of roller skates with wooden wheels.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, if that's not going to get you some jokes.
There's tons of jokes in there. Plenty, but he built his first pair of skates with wooden wheels, skating up and down the promenade.
And dare I say he was chasing a hoop with a stick.
Probably he could have been. He could have been chasing a dinosaur. He is very old. But the cleaner has the star here for France, as has Rhys Jones, and a repeat of the first jam. Moore now back on track from the penalty box, giving the Welsh team a full strength lineup of blockers, but the cleaners pushing on Clark and Jenkins, trying to find space to the inside, but recycled there by Manwaring. Manwaring keeping an eye on him, but Rhys Jones is recycled there by Mirage.
Mirage had an absolutely brilliant game yesterday against Scotland, and looks like his distraction techniques have done the job. The cleaner making his initial pass.
beautifully timed hit and completely legal. That was a hockey-style hip check. He was braced off by his own player and was able to stop dead pretty much at the point of impact, taking all the momentum out of Rhys Jones and making him do a little bit of a roly-poly.
A little bit there. Angry Bear up the front as he was coming towards us managed to just clip off Rhys Jones on the inside, set him back round to turn 2 while the cleaner picks up another natural grand slam. Rhys Jones just making his initial pass.
Yeah, that was a fantastic little hip check. I mean, it was a nice hockey-style hip check, but braced. That was brutal. I liked that.
Tell you what, if we've got to be up at this kind of time in the futsal on a Sunday morning, and the weather being as it is, it's worth it for this.
Oh, for a hit like that, that's worth the ticket price alone. Whenever I feel sad, I tend to watch the best of ice hockey hip checks. It's frightening. I wish I could do that on skates. Never had the skills.
We can but dream.
But here we have yet another jam, and again we got business in the box. It's 3-on-3. Looks like Rocket Bush trying to find some space past the hips of Butler there. Runs into the chest of Swift, who goes down under the pressure. But offense from the Welsh to get their jammer out as Ben Phillips goes screaming out of the pack.
Yeah, Swifty with a sweep on that inside line, making space. Rocket Bush making his way to the pack, but that was a very strong wall from Wales there.
Only the one apiece.
One apiece.
Good defensive play there, allowing Ben Phillips to pick up that point to keep that at a nil differential.
Another lead change in our midst, just under 24 minutes. Wales 12 points, France 21.
They've had the lead for a little while.
It has changed since the last time we mentioned it.
No, that's fair enough. I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Generous of you. Osborne back up against Paul Dance, up to jam. Empty penalty box, dare I say it.
That's the jinx. Paul Dance struggled last time, and Osborne was very effective, so this is going to be important for Wales to try and regain this lead. Jenkins and Clark doing excellent work, bracing off. Paul Dance tries once inside. Jenkins overcommits, and Dance through on the inside. But Osborne is going to chase him down, and he's lost his panty. So he sees where it is. Burrows there, the track professional, showing him where it is. Osborne will have to go through. He's lucky that he was before his scoring pass that he found it again.
Indeed, Dance has picked up 4 as yet unanswered points.
Multiplayer penalty picked up there by 101 Dr. Whoosh.
Dr. Whoosh's first appearance in the 4Nations tournament, didn't get to play yesterday, obviously saving him for today.
I don't know if it was a case of saving him for today or the fact that they may have thought that the game against England might have required a different skill set, perhaps the injuries, because Asilov has already been lost to injury and Pupatest has been rested. But there, Paul Dance, dancing his way through the pack. Let's see how many times I can make that joke before it gets annoying.
Let's. Healthy size jam there for France, 9-point jam versus 4 for Wales, 30 plays 16. Wales going to start this next jam with a 2-to-1 pack advantage, though 2 French blockers in the penalty box.
Had to do the maths. I was like, there's 4 of them. No, it's double. That's what that is. That's maths. Simple enough. This should be advantageous to Wales, obviously, but they do tend to make the most of them, and their jammers are more than capable of getting past 2 blockers at a time. As I say, that action is recycled. Again, the jinx of the announcer.
Charlecourt, your foremost jammer for France, but he is stuck right in the thick of that Welsh pack.
And now they have Dr. Whoosh back, National Recycle, behind Bernie No-Hill. Wow, that is not a good sign for Wales if they're not able to get out first with a 2-on-1 pack advantage. They may struggle in this game. Perhaps the early morning start has benefited the French more than the Welsh.
Maybe it's the time difference. For them, obviously, it's 11.
Ben Phillips here with the pivot. Takes out his own player in the run back, but Ashton's up okay. Not even an apology there by Ben Phillips. Oh no, there's the gentle pat on the behind to say, sorry, dude. It's a sports thing. I've never seen it anywhere else where a gentle pat on the behind is an apology or a well done. Only in sports.
You're absolutely right.
Don't get it in the office.
No worries, mate. Looks like we're having ourselves a team timeout.
I believe this one's the French. The Welsh have already had one. So, I mean, looking at the scores on the board, we got 30 points to France and 16 to Wales, which is not unattainable, but for 10 minutes, it's quite low scoring for these teams. The Welsh, I think, need to work out what's not working at the moment, because they were very dominant over the Scottish on track.
Yep.
Scoreboard doesn't show it, but that's the Welsh style of play. They play a very open game.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what they're doing today that doesn't work well against the French. I thought their style would work better than this early doors. So I'm interested to see what adjustments they make.
Absolutely. We did discuss this before we went on air. Obviously quite different skater physiques.
Yes, the French definitely seem slenderer.
Lithe?
Ooh, lithe's a good word. It's one of my favourites. But they're not packing on as much muscle. I mean, Burrows is quite clearly twice as wide as any single skater on track currently for France.
Yes.
And as is Jones, Ben Phillips, Manwaring, Chronic, Osborne. There's not a lot of muscle for France, and I thought that would definitely play to the Welsh's advantage with the style of game they play. Angry Bear recycling Mr. Jones there, trying to be peeled off by Burrows, who's still holding the French jammer at the back of the pack. He slips through, just gets past Jenkins, but Burrows on his own. Holding him is Burrows, runs him to the inside.
Burrows holding him till the very last possible moment when that out of play call goes, but he has to let him go.
Has to let him go, but the experience showing he knew exactly where to hold him and how long for. Troll was trying to feed him to the edge to try and go steal a cut.
Angry Bear trying with the takeoff there. Didn't quite manage to hold him back. Jones through on his initial pass to Cleaner, coming up for his scoring pass now.
Jenkins and Clark, the men with the most beautiful hair of the tournament, I believe.
Oh, absolutely glorious.
Wonderful. Doing their best there. Just minimizing the damage, but still 3 points picked up by France.
Roquet-Bouche and Phillips up to jam now. Wales starting once again with a pack advantage. 4 blockers plays 3.
But they've not made the most of it.
They definitely haven't. It almost seems that they kind of work a little bit better with their backs against the wall. A little bit.
I say South Wales are the core here of
Absolutely.
The Welsh team. And I've always said they bring you into a dogfight and beat you with experience about South Wales. And it tends to be the Welsh style of play, but it's not seeming to work here. But as Ben Phillips gets lead jammer, and it's a power jam, I think. It is a power jam. It is a forearms penalty being awarded to Roquet-Bouche. Now, Ben Phillips is dangerous at the best of times when you've got a pack disadvantage and what looks like an attempt to get a goat at the back here by the Welsh, and you've got Ben Phillips pushing on you. And Chronic coming in with the offense. That's going to get you 5 points.
That's going to pay you dividends.
Indeed, indeed.
Freaky Vincent ending up being that goat coming out of the penalty box.
Freaky Vincent, though, has worked hard, but Canal Hero is now caught at the back, and he's got Chronic, Swift, and Clutterbuck and Butler to get past, but Canal Hero is working them hard. Ben Phillips trying to stay inbound and upright, pushed to the inside by Mirage.
Roquet-Bouche back on track, has been spotted, picking
and
up.
Straight back to the bin for a back block. I think he went in there with a little bit too excited, and it did not work for him. But doesn't like Chronic is heading to the bin as well. So this is diminished pack for Wales, all 4 French blockers on track, and we have a star pass from Ben Phillips to Clutterbuck. Oh, tries to duck around the outside, but clipped. Excellent attempt there by the long skater. Tries to round the outside. Oh, no. Oh, that was so close. One wheel round the outside. And he's just past the point of no return.
Twice in one weekend.
That is not a good day for Mr. Clutterbuck. He goes straight in for Swifty, and with the big shoulder moves him. Rounds Butler, picks up 2 points. Looks like the Welsh are going to take this one as a sit-down as well.
Healthy jam there for Wales. 10 points, plays 3. Closed this to a 10-point game, 26-36. Still in favour of France, though.
Definitely on the points better for Wales, but I still don't know about the track. I think France are definitely winning the little contests. the little bits of just positional play, the jockeying for position, the holding jammers. The Welsh aren't goating strongly. They had Freaky Vincent, who's a good opportunity for them to goat, a slower, stronger skater, but that plays into the Welsh style of play. And they weren't able to hold him. And I don't know what it is at the moment that's not working for them. I mean, we've seen some slight changes to their roster here, but nothing drastic. What are we talking here? You've got Cliff Osborne, Clutterbuck, and Mr. Swift, I believe, all in for the first time this tournament.
Yep.
And they're pretty much the changes. And they're not... I don't know if the balance is wrong, but it could just be something... It might just be the early morning still. I mean, it's what I would blame.
Yeah, that's what I'm putting my...
It's strange, this. This is not what I expected at all. I think something just isn't clicking for them as a team right now. It could be the balance. It could be the early morning. It could just be the French style of play. To take no disrespect to the French at all.
Definitely
They
not.
have definitely upped their game after the England game yesterday. That was a tough loss for them.
That, of course, their first game of the 4Nations. That was a difficult start for them.
Yep.
And they've obviously come out raring and looking to take a win in this one, and they've
Yep.
come out fighting.
And they were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and warming up when I crawled in at 9.
Yeah, what was that all about? I'm pretty sure I saw them running around.
Yeah.
There's no need for that this time of the morning.
Oh, lovely block there by Jenkins on the inside line. Good shoulder check to take all the momentum out of. And again, Jenkins. Jenkins is going to become the bane here of 909 Paul Dance. He cannot dance through the pack with Jenkins about. Burrows at the front there to help try and offense out and get Clutterbuck out of the back. All 4 French blockers surrounding Clutterbuck. And he is getting nowhere, but Paul Dance finally makes his way out of the pack. Clutterbuck trying to find some space. Takes a stumble. Skarenex and Dr. Whoosh doing the business at the front there. Angry Bear running the back. Cutting penalty for Paul Dance. Clutterbuck's got the 40 minutes. Star passes off to Rhys Jones. Jenkins coming in with a big offense. Burrows with a screening block. Rhys Jones running through the inside, runs into Angry Bear, toe steps outside, back in, and got past Angry Bear, ducks under number 11, Skarenex, and is out of the pack.
Wow, I mentioned this yesterday during the France-Scotland game. Angry Bear in particular, having seen him at...
Big block by Clark there, sorry to say.
No, absolutely fine. Having seen him skate at the Men's European Cup earlier this year in Newcastle, it's like he's a different skater. He's really laid on.
In the 4 years I've seen Angry Bear skate, I've seen him lose maybe 2, maybe 3 stone in weight.
Wow.
He has slimmed right down, but he has not lost his power. Like I can see the muscles rippling in his quads as he moves. He's definitely still as strong as he ever was. And he's still as agile, and he's looking to really fill that void here. In the French blocking rotation, I think that's empty because they're missing from the World Cup some of their bigger, stronger skaters. There's no Braveheart.
He's definitely, for multiple reasons, an obvious gap.
Filler. Yeah, or Braveheart being an obvious. Well, yeah. I miss his tiny shorts mostly.
That's what I was alluding to with the multiple reasons. He is a very strong blocker, but everybody knows those shorts.
He's mostly jams I've seen recently, but there we go. We're back on track though. Chalikoa versus Ashton, I believe. Yep, Ashton just seen him through the crowd of officials. And the Welsh looking a bit more stable now, holding Chalikoa at the back. Ashton rounds the outside, runs into one block, goes through. Lovely bit of screening backwards, and again, but rounds it by the hips. Excellent work there by Tordu Ninja at the front of the pack. Chalikoa runs in some strong blocking from Ben Phillips, and it's a 1-2 punch. Phillips into Chronic. Phillips goes, though, for a forearms. Butler and Chronic now doing the business at the front as Ashton is scoring pass. Ashton picks up a cut track. Oh, that's...
As does Chalikoa.
First one in, first one leaves. It's a foot race. 1-2. 1-2. That'll be the releases.
And we've still got over 1 minute and 5 remaining of this jam. So this could be a big opportunity for both teams to kind of up
This
is
going to be the blockers. Oh! That is an unfortunate Chalikoa straight into the back of Ashton and does himself a disservice here. Now he's back in the bin, and this time Ashton is not there to let him out early. Elbows penalty assessed on Lewis, who heads to the bin.
Doesn't quite make that point in no return. Sent all the way round. Ashton up front. 2 blockers remaining. Clipped off on turn 1. Set back round past that pivot line.
That back block may have taken a lot out of Ashton. He is moving much slower, but he is not passed off to Butler yet. But he can't call the jam. Charlie Curl back on track. Ashton rounds on the outside. Lovely, lovely footwork. 5 in the sky. Curl, though, out as well. He picks up 4. Whistles coming in thick and fast, and this is what I expected. I expected the South Wales dogfight, and this is looking like it's happening. I'm just hearing penalties and penalties.
I'm sorry, that was absolutely beautiful. It just slow, controlled transition by Ashton around the hips of 511 Tordu Ninja, and he got the points, made it just before the end of that jam.
Oh, the refs are being called in here. Doesn't like it's an official review, but looks like it might be a little quicker to sit down. But this is what I expected. This is the game that France will lose. The South Wales dogfight. I cannot put it any better. I remember talking to Monkey Business of Pan Am Squad at the 2nd Men's European Roller Derby Cup.
Yep.
And he was not happy with the South Wales style of play at all. It ruined them. It just broke them apart. Because it's not something you can prepare for. The only team I know who go toe to toe with South Wales in the South Wales style regularly is Southern Discomfort.
Yes.
The only team I know who can nullify the South Wales dogfight game is Manchester Royal Derby's New World Order. They're too calm. They can't be drawn into that dogfight, and because they can't be drawn into that dogfight, they seem to just cause more problems for South Wales. The last MEC, for example, even though South Wales were 2nd seed, I believe, 2nd or 3rd seed,
if I remember correctly, yeah.
And Manchester Royal Derby were 5th or 6th. It was far closer than anyone expected because of the style of play.
Absolutely,
it was lost in the last couple of jams.
Yeah, literally last 5 minutes or so. I was lucky enough to be there this year, and it was an incredible game. I believe there might have been like 5+ lead changes.
Oh yeah.
But you could see NWA. They weren't going to get drawn into that mental game, and they in a very zen fashion, they just let it wash over them.
It is the only way to be. Oh, looks like we have an ejection here for 951 Bernie Nohel. Just going to wait for some clarification here, but it does look like he's been escorted away from the track, and Freaky Vincent is taking his seat here.
So in those last couple of jams, we've closed things up quite considerably. Wales 43 points, France 48. This is now just a 5-point game, 12 minutes 24 remaining on the clock. Osborne and the cleaner up to jam on a depleted pack, 2 blockers apiece. Osborne straight out the pack, the cleaner not far behind him, matching each other stride for stride. I should imagine it's very possible that these guys are probably just going to try and run that clock, get their blockers out of the box. Osborne looking over his shoulder, checking how close the cleaner is.
It's the cleaner versus the mechanic, both of which are euphemisms for contract killers in films. That's quite amusing.
You've just made me ever so slightly nervous about this jam, Malice.
Cliff the Mechanic Osborne actually is a mechanic, though, a car repairing mechanic.
I was wondering.
Yeah. But, sorry, the ejection for 951, it was for a dangerous back block.
Fair enough.
So that was the ejection awarded for that. Which is unfortunate. Bernie Nohel was having quite a good game until then.
He was. The jams where we'd seen him, he was subtle, but he was where he needed to be to make those
the unsung heroes of roller derby.
Exactly.
The I don't do the big hits, but if it wasn't for me, you couldn't be bridged 30 feet out doing the big hits.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, no, it's unfortunate, but this is what I say. It's the South Wales dogfight. They bring you into it. They let you lose your head, and they're controlled enough to not get there too often, but they make you lose your temper and take advantage of it.
Meanwhile, back on this jam, Ben Phillips taking a little skip over turn 1, Apex to pick up lead jammer status. Rocket Boost yet to make his initial pass, stuck in the thick of that Welsh pack.
And Ben Phillips now on his scoring pass, goes around the outside, trying to find some space past Angry Bear's hips. And it is Tordu Ninja again with that really low. Again, it's an ice hockey style backwards hip check. He's so low and flexible at the hips. But Ben Phillips out picking up 5 points. As Mirage heads to the bin. Good sprint there to the bin. Always liking a good hustle to the bin. The penalty does not start till that behind touches that seat.
Rocket Bush managing to get around the shoulders of Swift and Chronic.
Swift, it was actually Swift getting the big hit on Angry Bear to stop him just slipping through. Shake of the head there from Angry Bear. Looks like that one was a tough one for him. As the muscle here for the French team, I believe that the Welsh will target him.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, they need to nullify him because he has been devastating. Lead change?
Lead change indeed, my friend. France 51, Wales 52. 10 minutes remaining on the clock.
I've said it many times. I will keep saying this one will be close. This is going to be the decider really for second place. England should beat Wales, I think, in the final.
Clark managing to pull a cut track on Paul Dance. That was not on his dance card. Meanwhile, brushing it off there.
The shoulder is Rhys Jones heading round on his scoring pass. Clark, one of those skaters I've seen skate over the past 4 years as well, and just has come on leaps and bounds every time I've seen him. But Rhys Jones picking up 5 in the sky. Direction of gameplay penalty picked up for Clark. The announcer's curse strikes again. Scarenex trying to chase down Rhys Jones in front. No dice. Another 5 points.
Golden Ninja making his way back on track, going toe-to-toe with Luke Manwaring.
Cutting off Paul Dance straight away there. I do apologise for
no problem at all. That was definitely the bigger call. Meanwhile, Paul Dance back on track, made his way through that pack as Rhys Jones gets called for a cut track penalty. Scarenex spotted that a mile off. Very proud of that action.
And Manwaring does enough to pop him off track and gets him a cut, a misconduct cut. That'll be the I'm in midair when I hit you, sorry penalty.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate one, but rules is rules. If you didn't have rules, well
we'd be playing Renegade Derby, and
that's a dangerous aspect, right?
Oh, yes.
Although I believe Team Wales will probably do very well there.
I couldn't possibly comment. Both jammers back on track now. Paul Dance trying to make his way around, nearly taking that outside line as a plethora of blockers hit the deck.
Yeah, Manwaring took out Mirage, and the follow-through kind of took Paul Dance off track.
You know that's a good hit when the guy that you hit takes out another guy.
Oh, yeah. It's always a nice one. The pinball effect.
It's a touch of the old Newton's cradle.
Oh, yes.
We're far too scientific for this time in the Sunday morning.
Oh, just at the whistle there, Rhys Jones blocked his way through. 7-8-9 for France there, which is it 7-8-9? Yes, this is. Yeah. We don't have a 7-8-9.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the wrong, because I was looking at the wrong sheet. That's Bruce Roulette. Right, I'm going to get rid of this one from France's game yesterday.
Probably for the best.
Before I keep getting confused. Like, 7-8-9 isn't rusted here.
And the raffle ticket that
did not
win
no.
anything on.
No, nothing wins us the big bet. 7 minutes and change on the clock, and this is another team timeout. France, both teams using 2 team timeouts in the first half. I mean, this has been a neck-and-neck, high-pressure game, so I can understand this. Sometimes you've got to say something for the second, you know? It's when you have that tactical official review, like, I'm using this official review as a team timeout, please.
Yeah. But it's being able to... As we say, it's been a close game. It's been a physical game, and I think probably both teams just wanting to take that moment to just kind of take a breather, recenter, and
the thing is, it's both teams have won. You know what I mean? It has another way, but they've won it on track, jam for jam.
Yeah.
France, when they've dominated, they have dominated on track. Wales, when they've got their way, have dominated on track. It's very rare that jams have been like 1 or 2 pointers in it. It's been like, it's mostly like unanswered scores or big differentials, such as this 13-point differential in the last jam. But it's not been very many like 2 pointers, 1 pointers.
No.
So it's always been all or nothing on the track, which is interesting. I like this game.
I like it a lot.
I'm glad I got to announce it.
Me too. So it looks like we are very nearly ready to get back on with this next jam. Charlecourt and Ashton, your jammers for France and Wales respectively.
I don't know if the camera can see it there, but OBR Duncan disorderly practicing the power pose of Blackadder Third, the legs wide apart power pose.
Gotta love that power pose.
Indeed.
Ashton so close on that inside line, taken
Angry
off
Bear
by
again.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he's looking to get that MVP award. That's what it is. Spin, spin, spin inside. No pass, no penalty. Ashton out of the pack.
That means barring a star pass, Charlotte Kerr still able to pick up that lead jammer status, and he does.
But he's not realised it as Ashton is on his scoring pass. Now he's going to go for the points because he has to as Ashton has got through. But Charlie Kerr has got past Chronic and out first. 4 apiece. Cut track awarded to
Ashton. Power jam now in favour of Charlotte Kerr with that lead jammer status. He is absolutely in control, or as much as you can be coming up against that Welsh wall.
And again, as I said, this could be an all or nothing jam where the French take it from the Welsh. But Chronic is blocking 2 Frenchmen at once. Oh!
Wow.
Sets him up for Butler to come screaming through. Takes Charlie Kerr out. Again, Chronic and Butler. Every tournament I've seen, they've played together apart from the Men's World Cup, the first one. And they've just been devastating. These two have skated together, I believe, since the dawn of time. I like the fact that Butler knows Chronic's strength and doesn't brace off his shoulders, but braces off his core.
Yeah.
Hand pretty much straight into the belly button, bracing. And Chronic will stand there and he will take it. Now that his back is healthy, Chronic is quite the terror on track again.
It's been a while since I've seen Chronic skate, and I'd forgotten quite just how much I enjoy the way he dominates the track.
Until there was that jam yesterday where Optimus Grime launched him 10 feet backwards.
Yeah, that was...
that was a sight to behold.
I'm pretty sure I saw some light coming through the roof of the futsal centre with a little...
It is one of those things, though. Optimus Grime has the strength of at least 17 men.
At least. Minimum.
He's basically a rugby team on his own.
Meanwhile, back on this jam, Osborne picking up lead jammer status over the cleaner. So it's the
contract killers jam.
Lewis with a huge hit, taking down one of the French blockers.
Looks like we've got a knee injury here by the looks of things. The Welsh return to the bench. The rest obviously quickly come in. The bench manager is going to be on hand to translate if needed. Yeah, he definitely went down catching his knee, but
it certainly looked that way. I mean,
doesn't appear to be latched onto it, so nothing too concerning, we hope.
I mean, this is, of course, a full contact sport. We do understand that.
That's why we wear so much padding.
Yes, all the padding. And we've got top-notch medics on hand with us this weekend.
Always got the medics here. Always got them staff.
I've seen the kit they've brought.
We also have a general surgeon, a trainee doctor, and 2 nurses in attendance in the officials and skaters.
We're stocked.
Yeah, we're covered. If we need to operate right now, we probably could.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a massage bench in the officials' room. There's a kettle. Yeah, we can sterilise.
We'll be good. If we needed to do some stuff, we'd be fine. But that's what you have to roll. It's the wonderful world of what people actually do, because this is an amateur sport.
Absolutely, we've all got real jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I fix internet.
I work in a supermarket. Yeah, I'm not particularly proud of that.
It pays the bills. It's fine. But we found. I mean, my home league, Manchester Roller Derby, we found that most of our staff, most of our league, are either IT, education, or health. Ah, it's a weird one.
I think a fair portion of my home league, Milton Keynes Roller Derby, is IT.
Yeah. Geeks love skating.
Geeks love skating. Brilliant to see Mirage back up on his skates, making his way over to the far corner so the medics can check him out. But he is skating. He's
under
still
his
looking.
Own power.
Yes, under his own volition.
Ooh.
I'm getting wordy today.
All right. I'll bust out the dictionary and we'll see what happens. It's a shame because Mirage and Allison, you have to sit out the customary 3 jams. Which
may well take us up to the half with 4 minutes 53 seconds remaining.
It may indeed, but Mirage has also been very important for France. He and Angry Bear have done excellent work defensively. And will this loss hurt them going into half-time?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Rocket Bush and Ben Phillips up to jam now.
Ben Phillips not having the best of it today. I mean, aside from a power jam, he's really struggled with the French walls. Which is not what I expected at all from him. As I say that, the announcer curse kicks in.
Absolutely.
And he gets through them like a hot knife through butter.
He's heading to the box right now for forums, but I feel the need to comment that Jay Clutterbuck kind of went in through some nice big hits. They are beautiful socks. And cleared a number of the French defence to make way for Ben Phillips to get through. Ben Phillips picking up that 4 points, calling off the jam. managing to shut down Roquebouche before he bagged anything in his sac magique.
I am liking... Clutterbuck is a player I don't see enough of. I just always... It's like Hutchinson for Scotland. There just wasn't enough of him. I wanted to see more. I'm going to go and find the lineup managers at halftime. Like, play him more. I want to watch more of him.
Yeah.
He's good. I like him.
In this next half, I would like 35% more Clutterbuck.
At least. But back on track, Rhys Jones is up against 909 Paul Dance, who is trying to find some space around the outside.
However, we've got Clark. Oh!
No, that is a low block penalty, was it? No, it's a
high block.
He's not happy about this, as he's indicating to the Welsh fans. But Paul Dance making his way out of the pack and around on his scoring pass. Runs into the back of Clark and Manwaring. Angry Bear pushing Burrows out the way. It's just extending the pack, though. Burrows is happy with that. There's the shoulder shrug. You cannot do that with Burrows. He is too experienced. If you let him control the pack, he will, with a smile on his face and a song in his heart. And then he will brutally beat you down.
I'm getting visions in my head of Clockwork Orange and all kinds of things. But on skates.
That is a frightening concept. 4 hours penalty assessed there on Burrows. He disagrees but hustles to the box. Paul Dance calls the jam before Rhys Jones can go in. He's still not happy about that penalty.
I tell you what, nice hits, brilliant socks, and tidy to boot. I saw Clutterbuck hit the deck and briefly give a quick wipe on the floor where there was obviously some sweat. Briefest of wipes.
This is men's derby. It is. There's a reason why if you look to the Welsh bench, you will see a roll of kitchen roll.
Yeah, that doesn't come as standard. They brought that themselves.
That's unfortunately we're men's derby. We know we sweat. Ashton versus Charlie Coeur, 2-8 versus 18. This is a diminished Welsh pack, but they are putting the effort in here. Butler pops to the inside. Chronic just rolls a little bit backwards, forces the cut. Experience showing, and 3 French players hustling to the box.
One of which being that jammer Charles Coeur, meaning with only 2 blockers on track, Ashton is through, picks up lead jammer on what is now a power jam.
And they are about to get Burrows back, and with Chronic, Phillips on track, and Butler, Ashton should find this one easy. Should.
However, I can see that Skaranex is up front, sort of almost a reverse goat. Skaranex had a brilliant game yesterday against Scotland, and it looks like he's looking to do more of the same.
Oh, beautiful pivot around Skaranex, though, by Ashton. The French not taking advantage of the goat they had there. All 3 French players standing in the box, and Ashton thinks, well, I'll make it easy for the next guy. And that next guy is Cliff the Mechanic Osborne.
Who doesn't really need the help, but...
It's just nice.
Yeah, it's
nice.
It's always appreciated. Yeah.
The Mechanic, unfortunately, I'm going to keep calling him. He wants to be called the Mechanic. I've been asked to call him Osborne to annoy him, but I'm scared of him, so I'm not going to call him that too often.
We'll get an even mix.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that in a while. Somebody laying across the pivot line.
It is Burrows who he's going for a knee.
It's like he's heard us. He's taken a knee. The French guys look quite confused. Maybe that didn't make it across.
Angry Bear remembers the joke. Angry Bear remembers.
He knows.
Burrows is getting mixing it up in their pack. I think the swarm's going to happen here. I think the swarm's going to happen hard.
I can hear the buzzing. Either that or I've got some serious tinnitus from the whistles.
French fleeing forward. Osborne on the offense. And takes that lead jam around the corner of Chayara. Freaky Vincent heading to the bin.
Do believe that was a blocking out
of play. Oh, beautiful hip check there by Jones, proving he may be a jammer by trade, but he can block just as well. Blocking out play awarded to Spider Biscott, but Osborne run all the way back anyway. Haro picks up the penalty, not Spider Biscott. I do apologize, Mr. Biscott. Mechanic runs back inside. I believe Mechanic, one of those play it safe jammers. I've gone off track. I best run to the back just to be safe.
Sometimes it's best to hedge your bets.
Yeah, I mean, when you are the Osborne can bull his way through any pack on any given day.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. Just I know I can get through. It'll be fine. And there we have a healthy lead there for Wales of 27 points. And this is what I believe would happen. The Welsh would get the French into their style of game and then beat them with experience. France having the best of it early doors. If they can regain that calm and composure, they're back in this. This is not an unassailable lead in any way, shape or form.
Absolutely not.
But they need to get that composure back, and I don't think the Welsh will let them.
I was going to say, is this 15-minute intermission enough time for them to mentally withdraw from that South Wales dogfight?
No.
just no.
I think the 15 minutes actually is going to be worse for them. They're going to dwell on it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to sit in their head. They're going to dwell on how they had the lead and how they've lost it. I think that's going to affect them mentally. In the second half, I think Wales are going to put the screws to them. And it's just going to get worse.
Is it bad to say that I'm looking forward to seeing that?
When you get to see a Wales team really play their game, their way, it's frightening and beautiful in equal measure. Because to the untrained eye, it looks scrappy, messy play, but that's what they want. That's their game.
Yeah.
For football fans who could be listening, it's like Stoke versus Arsenal. One team wants to play beautiful football, one team wants to play dirty football. And it just stops the other team playing their way.
Yeah.
The French here want to play their style of roller derby. The Welsh style does not allow that.
No.
It's like, same like the England game. The England team play this really strict, regimented, rigid roller derby that restricts everyone else from playing roller derby. But the Welsh can stop that because they don't let you play the way you want to play. Whereas the Scottish game and the French game didn't have that answer, and because of that they struggled. But the second half, which should be back with you in 30 minutes for us, or a matter of seconds for you, we'll be back on the way. What scores at halftime again? Wales 95, France 68. And we're back here for the second half of Wales versus France. I am still Captain Mouse alongside the ever intellectual and eloquent Snoogans.
Sure, probably. Why not?
You've used the bigger word so far today. So, scores at the half, still Wales on 95 points versus France is 68. We have everyone on track, a little bit of a chin wag to the scoreboard. I think everyone's ready to go. They might just be winding up that 20 seconds. Yeah, there's 30 seconds just killed. Like, yeah, we're ready to go. Let's do this. Ain't no point waiting.
The people want the derby.
Who love the derby? We love the derby. So a lot of space on track here. It is 3 plays 2 for the blockers as 254 Jones skates against the cleaner, number 1631. Cleaner stuck behind Manwaring and Jenkins and Clark. The back pack rejoined by Burrows as Jones is recycled to the back of the pack. Jenkins and Clark working well together here. Clark rid the run back for the cut but didn't get it. Jones rides the check. Bursts out from corner 2, going around and on his scoring pass. French now up to full strength as well as the Welsh. Cleaner tries to squeeze through the gap between Clark and Burrows. Picks up the 2. This is interesting. I was discussing it at half-time. If the French continue to lose their heads and play into Wales' hands, they're going to fall apart. It does not look like it just yet. But Wales can always put the screws to them. And that should mix things up. Clutterbuck is at the front of the pack having a little chat with the guys of France. Mixing things up in there. Well, this is something planned. He's just
nice little pat on the head there.
Yeah. Mixing up their brace. Very interesting. Oh, lovely work by Clutterbuck. He's just breaking those French blockers apart. Takes out Angry Bear at corner 1.
Meanwhile, Paul Dance doing a do-si-do at the back with a handful of those Welsh blockers. Tries to go through Swift. Unsuccessful. Taken off.
Clutterbuck did pick up an elbows penalty, but my word, that was effective offense there. He does not look like he'd be able to generate so much power in such a short amount of space as well. Very nice work, Mr. Clutterbuck.
Very nice.
Very nice indeed. There's another skater I've not seen enough of him. So
Yeah.
this might be his bread and butter, his day-to-day work.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things like very nice, like that. But a single point picked up there for Wales, but holding France to a nil point.
Nice.
It doesn't look like they've swapped benches.
They haven't. We had the same thing yesterday evening, I believe, between France and Scotland.
Maybe the French just like being comfy, and they've warmed those seats up. Or maybe the Welsh and the Scottish really smell. There's that thing there. They just don't want to go to their bench. But back on track. Osborne rounds the hips of Kanahiro and makes his way out of the pack as Jones, again blocking, runs Charlie Cure back as Osborne just runs into some strong blocking there. I believe that is that Tordu Ninja?
I think it might be.
He's got the lovely graphic on his grey helmet. So
I did earlier think that he was the jammer.
Yeah, it's a confusing one, isn't
the
it?
jammer's in the box. Charles Leclerc making his way out of that pack. Osborne in the thick of it, calls the jam.
He had got all the points already anyway. That's the weird thing with Roldo, for those of you new to it, as Wales do break to triple digits with 101 points. You can get your points of a player and then go behind them. You still earn their points. You don't lose the points. It's a kind of a weird thing when you think about it. It's just like, but they're behind you now. But I've still earned their points. I've passed them already. They're mine. They live in my pocket now.
You're my points now, Dave.
That's where I put my points. I put my points in my pocket.
It's a safe place. Meanwhile, on track, Ashton
jamming much more today than he did yesterday against Scotland.
Definitely older. Snake hips Ashton, as I feel I need to call him. But
Snake hips.
Rocket Bush out of that pack like a bullet from a gun, picking up lead jammer while Ashton's taking a lay down in the thick of it. Oh! Rocket Bush slips around the outside unseen for a natural grand slam.
Angry Bear takes out Big Smack and Fries, the jam referee, nearly sweeping her across the track. Oh, lovely duck under there by Rocket Bush. Chirp of a whistle for someone.
It is actually Rocket Bush getting a blocking out of play.
Yeah, must have been an out of play called on Chronic before Rocket Bush came in with his shoulder check.
Back in the thick of it in this power jam for Ashton Clutterbuck, going in and breaking up that wall.
And
shoulders to the sternum.
He gets low and uses that length well. He gets very low, uses length really well to lever and push. It's very impressive use of his body. I'm going to have a good chatter with him about that at a later time, because it's very, very interesting style of skating he has. Effective as well, and picks up a penalty, unfortunately, for it.
And it looks like he's also going to bag himself an insubordination for his trouble, so that will be a full minute in the box for Clutterbuck. Yeah,
well, that's going to hurt him in the MVP votes, because I don't like giving the MVP not to someone who gets an in-sub.
Nope.
But he has played very well from what I've seen of him, so hopefully he will be able to do himself proud in the last game against England.
Meanwhile, we've got a handful of seconds left on the clock. Both jammers now in the pack, scoring.
Ashton struggling a little bit again with the French walls as Dr. Whoosh heads to the bin.
And it's looking like
Rocket a back block,
just in the dying seconds of that jam. So Jones is going to start this jam on a power jam.
It looks like Jones is jam one, off one, block one, off one, jam one, repeat sort of thing. He's taking a really deep rotation here and using his skills at work, because he's very effective in a true double threat. Looks like there's a little bit of a conflagration in the middle here between French bench.
Looks like we are now in an official timeout. Presumably just clarifying those penalties from the previous jam.
Well, Rocky Bush did stand up in the box without being instructed to do so, is that a naughty boy penalty?
As it's between jams, I should imagine it's okay.
I've seen stranger things happen.
Jones taking that almost sprint runner start, and he definitely gets that power behind him, racing up to the pivot line.
But that power is used against him effectively there by the two French blockers at the front, Canard Hero, and I believe that is, if I could see his number, it is 00 Mirage. All the zeros at the front of the pack, working well together there. Burrows obviously looking to bookend on the outside. It's a dummy though, because it's Jenkins on the inside. Disrupts him enough for Jones to get through for 5 points.
Looks like Wales keep going for that goat at the back, but again, France managing to get their blockers through, reform their walls.
It's not about keeping the goat as it is to just disrupt them enough. Excellent work there by Rocket Bush to push and pull, and he is out like greased lightning. He is putting his sprint on. I think he feels maybe a little bit. Oh, that's late and that's low. Jenkins, I think, took a follow-up there to the face. Might have been the way he fell.
We are going to have our medics come and take a look.
Yeah, he's clutching his jaw. I think that may have just been the secondary impact there. I don't think it was the first part at all. Rocket Bush looked like he went in. No malice, and I think he was just all that energy from the sprint out. I think he just lost a bit of control. I mean, this is a tricky floor. For those of you who don't skate, it's a weird one. The first 10, 20 minutes is just utter pain.
Yes.
It
I
is
can imagine.
tiled, and then your feet go numb. It's
that
weird.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
You don't feel in control of like the very fine movements you do with your feet inside the skate. You lose a little bit of that because your feet don't feel as much.
Right.
And if like me, you're a terrible skater, it's so much worse because you rely so much on what you feel in your foot to direct you, and whereas it's instinct for your top tier skaters, they just know exactly what they're going to do. So if you put yourself in a very pressured situation, it can cause you problems. I'm concerned here that this on Rocket Bush may be a second ejection for France, because that was reckless. He wasn't fast, and he went sliding into the back of the legs of Jenkins. And the fact we've had to stop here for an injury is definitely going to add to that, I feel, in the minds of the referees. Right stock side is heading to him. This is not a good sign.
I mean, I've said it probably a million times before, and I'll probably say it another million times. Full contact sport, we understand this. And we're lucky that, as I've said, we've got the medics that we do, and that we've got the officials that we do.
Yep.
The standard of officiating from both our referees and our non-skating officials has been absolutely stellar this weekend. And I've spent a couple of games where I've not been working, just kind of watching the refs watch the track, and just the speed at which they're picking things up, and they're managing to clock what's going on and call those correct penalties and call them in a timely fashion is helping the game to move at a really good pace.
Yes. Again, you look around at the referees here, and it is a who's who of the best referees in the UK. Looks like, the pivot panty the jam panty has been removed. It's another ejection here. It will be for the reckless low block, I believe. We'll probably wait for clarification. It's going to come here from one of our co-announcers, and Nasty Moves.
He's having a real bad one.
He's had like a few really bad ones. Was it an ejection there for?
I can find out.
Sorry, there wasn't clarification. There wasn't clarification on the ejection there. It is definitely ejection for Rocket Bush, I believe, for a reckless low block. So for clarification, Jenkins is up.
Very good to see.
Yeah, it looks like his jaw was knocked a little bit there, but he seems to be okay. Just a heads up, Burrows and Clutterbuck for Wales. Burrows is on 5 penalties, Clutterbuck is on 6.
Both of those those high level, high scoring penalties, so to speak, if either of those two foul out, that will definitely be to the detriment of Wales. They've both put some really good work on the board so far today.
Clutterbuck has been incredibly effective, but he's picked up a lot of sloppy penalties, which is unfortunate. Burrows is Burrows. He will always be a linchpin for any team he walks into. Still waiting for clarification. I believe it was for the low block, and the secondary impact of the jaw was secondary. Luzzo is actually awarded as a misconduct for blocking after the whistle, so an egregious misconduct.
Okay.
That'll be for the lack of control.
So it looks like the cleaner's going to start in the box in place of Rocket Bush for France.
Yeah, this
Phillips.
is really going to hurt France here. I mean, that's Rocket Bush. They've lost already. And
Phillips straight through that pack. France one blocker down as well. Very sort of gappy wall. Plenty of space for Phillips to get through and pick up lead on this power jam.
2 ejections. Again, it sounds mean to say it like that, but it is how South Wales can just disrupt you so much. And once they get you into their style of game and they disrupt your mental positioning on the game, your mental strength, you really struggle to get that back.
I've got to say, though, somebody who doesn't seem to be struggling too much with that
Angry
mental
Bear.
game, Angry Bear.
Angry Bear is
again being
consummate professional.
Goated at the back, managing to take off Phillips briefly on his last pass.
And again, he's straight back in there. He doesn't lose his head. Angry Bear, even though his name says he's angry, is not that kind of skater. I've never seen him lose his head in a game, to be honest.
No.
But again, I think he's possibly the most experienced skater here on track for France. Asilov is unfortunately injured.
Yeah.
And looking at the rest of this is a lot of skaters you do not usually see for France. Sorry, that's not fair. You don't see as often for like the France or Toulouse or Pan Am, who've got a lot of experience, but there's a lot of cami quads here as well.
But I mean, there's only so much that we here in the UK get to see.
Yeah.
Excuse me, from
the French teams.
Of
yes.
the French teams. So there's no doubt going to be growth, unknown growth to us.
Yes, of course.
Is happening.
Unfortunately, as I was discussing with some of the Welsh skaters yesterday, there's not enough for the French teams. There's only really those 3 teams, the Cami Quads, Pan Am, and Toulouse, who are at this level.
Yeah.
Whereas it is pretty much every single... Sorry,
I've got to interrupt. The cleaner going for a rather blatant star stash. Absolutely unseen by those Welsh blockers. Kind of just sailed around the inside line. No sneak to it. Just here, just having a skate Sunday morning.
I'm stealing that term, star stash, by the way. It's a good one.
Thank you.
I should definitely use it more often.
I would love to take...
credit?
Yeah, but I can't.
Oh, whose is it?
I can't remember specifically, but I did pick it up at Blood and Thunder in Dallas last year.
Probably one of those, really experienced American announcers.
Yeah.
Damn them. But back on track, number 909 Paul Dance, who's been very impressive today up against Osborne, number 79. Really, again, Paul Dance, not a skater I've seen very much of, and I really enjoyed his footwork.
Yeah.
Tall Dude Ninja, though, is looking very impressive. He's not on track at the moment, I don't think. But it's a really tough one for me to pick for a best French player from this game.
Osborne picking up a forearms penalty, trying to break through that solid 4 brace wall. However, Clark once again with a beautiful cut pulled on Paul Dance.
He is fantastic, Clark. I spoke to him yesterday saying I've seen him for 4 years, and in 4 years I've seen him go from Bambi on skates to being a real terror on track. One of those exponential growth things that we love so much in roller derby. And there he is, straight away mixing it up, breaking apart that French wall as best he can try. You've got Lewis as well, trying to hook one off on Kyle Hero. But there's Osborne putting the muscle in. That's what he likes. There's Burrows, lovely shoulder shrug to the outside. Takes out Dance. And again, Burrows loves to wait at the line for you.
Yeah.
That's his experience showing. I mean, Burrows is one of the former coaches for Rainy City, as well as coaching a fair few times as I was a guest coach with many teams within Manchester Roller Derby. And now I'm assuming he's bringing all that experience to Wales, and that's going to be an even scarier concept because the Welsh strength with the gamesmanship that Burrows can bring, because Burrows also was the coach and bench manager for Furnace Firecrackers, and Clarkey again catches Dance. I think I know who my nod for MVP for Wales today is going towards.
I've got to say I'm on the same page, Maz.
He's looked very impressive. Those beautiful locks, that wonderful beard, and that will be Lewis heading to the bin.
And looks like we had a star pass in our midst to Butler, but he's incurred a cutting penalty, meaning we'll have a jammer switchery, but the jam has ended.
Ooh. So we'll be getting pole dance release straight away.
But we will start very briefly with a jammerless jam.
How fun. I quite like Butler of South Wales going by the name Neil Hallardo.
Thank you.
That was bothering you, wasn't it?
It really was. Darn those people wanting to skate and be recognised
I know,
for their
but
countries.
as their own people. But Butler, a very, very talented jammer who doesn't jam anywhere near as much as he used to. Really different style from the rest of the Welsh jammers. He's a very measured, controlled, almost relaxed skater. Like, here's he
does look quite at ease as he makes his way through the pack right now.
And
although,
picks up
as
a
I
forearms penalty straight away. He disagrees. Rubs his beard in contemplation there. Yes, maybe. Yes. But Paul Dance struggling to get past Phillips and Lewis at the back, then runs into Chronic and Swifty. That's like my nightmare.
Yeah, that's if you're going to run body to
Oh,
body.
there's Swifty
shoulder
again.
check from Swift.
And Dance is not happy about that, but it was legal as defined by the referees.
That was, I mean, we've got a brilliant view here of the second straightaway, and I could see.
And again, Swifty's just waiting for him, lurking with bad intentions, loitering.
Martin Swift, bad intentions, never.
And again,
Phillips on that one.
Phillips and Swifty are going to put the boot in. I say the boot, the shoulders in.
Shoulder, yeah.
It's legal. And Lewis as well has got a little shoulder shrug. Phillips mixing it up now. And their Butler coming in from behind. And he's going again, but he's not happy about that. Paul Dance gets through, and that looked like he was a struggle.
Yeah, that was a cut.
Oh, no.
I believe that might have been Swift that pulled that cut. He just got his rear end out, so to speak.
The gluteus maximus.
There we go.
There
we go. Paul Dance thinking he'd made his way around, but he hadn't. So considering Butler's gone to the box, but
there was a star pass to Mr. Phillips.
Sneaky.
Freaky Vincent versus Phillips at the front of the pack. And that's the jam. That
was 2 meaty minutes of roller derby.
2 meaty minutes of roller derby where I don't think a single point was scored.
Nope. Wow.
Damn.
Nope.
Yeah, not many people can say they can do that to either of these teams. And the fact they did to each other is kind of frightening. I mean, admittedly, the penalty box played a big part in this.
Yeah. I feel that kind of we're at a point where things that the internet could have imploded then.
It could have. Oh, NSO nearly got killed by Jones there as the game started. Jam started even.
It's a very real possibility.
But Jones is so lovely, he would have felt bad about it.
Oh, absolutely. He would have felt awful. He almost certainly would have sent her a basket of cheese or something.
Fruit, maybe. But there was another star pass here to Kanahara.
Oh, I believe that might be our first Apex jump of the day, Malice.
Woo! They've warmed up now. It's 20 past 11.
Yeah,
they've warmed up a bit.
It's nearly lunchtime. They're being propelled by the thoughts of some Welsh rarebit. Jones with a solid body to body to Charlotte Kerr, I believe that is, number 17.
Yeah, as Tordu Ninja comes in and takes down the French wall illegally. A bit of a clockwise block there.
My mistake, that was Spider Biscuit.
Spider Biscuit number 17.
Mirage with a nice little...
Mirage?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's got a good shimmy, has Mirage. It was one I clocked at the World Cup, especially in the, I think it was a game against Canada. Had a lovely little bit of movement up to him.
Yeah. Like, mental flash. I know exactly what you're talking about. Meanwhile, Jones laying on those Grand Slam passes.
This is where Wales put the screws to you, because they can play roller derby. They're not just bruisers, as everyone thinks they are. And the French are claiming that as a back block, but even from my perspective over here, I could see that 9-0-9 Paulans was sideways on and ribs exposed, which is a foolish place to be to any Welsh skater. Clarkey nearly catching another cut track from Kanahara there, but Kanahara wise to it this time. Looks like someone's tying their shoelace in the infield. Is that number 4, James Moore? It is. James Moore having a shoelace malfunction. And the Welsh still holding counter row fine as he then hops through on his toes, picking up 4 points. To an 29-point jam for Wales.
Wow.
Burrows there, giving a good congratulations. Jones is amped. There was some strong face anger from Jones.
I've got to say that 29-point jam, I do believe that was the score of the highest scoring jam we had yesterday.
Interesting.
Which I believe was Reaper in one of the England games.
Okay.
So credit to you, Jones. Very nice.
Jones is no slouch.
No. But it's got to be quite a nice feeling to sort of be able to say, I've had a higher scoring jam that rivals Reaper.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? Really, Reaper's one of those skaters you kind of have to key yourself up against. This is interesting. It's
I'm being surrounded by images of my failure on the predictables page on Facebook.
Well, you had France to win here by 68 points. How's that going for you?
It's it's not tasting so good, if I'm honest.
I can't say much. I had Wales to win by 10. The person winning here, though, is Mr. Statman with a prediction of Wales to win by 80. Although Muckety Muck's not far off with a prediction of 138 win for Wales.
We have, of course, had some guest predictions for this weekend.
We have Muckety Muck and Holy Sheet joining us with the predictables.
As I understand, she does some skate, some referee.
I think she plays.
I don't know about that.
I'm sure I've seen her with a star on her helmet, so I assume she plays roller derby. But it looks like neither of us are going to be taking home many points from it today, which is a bit of a shame. But at least I'm getting the point for the win, because I picked the right team.
Thanks for that.
You'll never want to announce with me again after this. But back on track, Ashton 2828 up against, I believe, is just a bit. Oh, thanks for turning. There it is. It is number 18, Charlie Carrot. I could only see the 8, so I wasn't quite sure.
Ashton around the outside, but he does pick up a cutting penalty, meaning Charles Leclerc is now on a power jam for France. But that's Swift all up in his grill.
All up in his grill is Swifty, and then Lewis, and he's still got Chronic.
It's a whole roller nope. But
that's any Welsh wall. I mean, again, it's this horrible thing. It's this reputation they have of being like strong enforcer type skaters, which they are, but they can still skate. And take nothing away from them. They've got some serious skate skills.
Oh yeah.
Like Chronic and Lewis both bracing each other. Lewis ready to absorb the hit. Here comes Angry Bear, but Lewis was ready to recover. Does so well. Swifty comes in behind. That's going to be the back block. There it is. Lewis, though, never say quit. Actually goes for the chase down. Doesn't catch him.
However, Charles Leclerc picking up a cutting penalty. Heading to the box. Ashton has just made his way back on track to be taken off and set back by Angry Bear.
Angry Bear just left too much space, and Ashton stole through. You forget that Ashton is about as wide as a pencil. He is a narrow-framed gentleman.
Working to his advantage there, making his initial pass on this jam, obviously heading to the box on his first attempt as an initial pass. So
now he's going to be on his scoring pass with 30 seconds left on, or 34 and change, left on the clock. Ashton tries to round the outside. No dice. And he's going to get absorbed all the way back there. Chronic got Freaky Vincent at the back. So pack is rear.
There's many phrases that I never thought I'd say until I started commentating roller derby.
Such as?
Pack is rear. Got Freaky Vincent at the back.
The joys of announcing roller derby, the things we end up saying.
It's brilliant. Charles Leclerc back on track, bagging himself a natural grand slam with Ashton still in the pack. If that hit from Dr. Whoosh had connected, we would have had Ashton all over the infield.
Ashton would have been probably cleaning out Stubble Entendre there, who is one of the IPRs.
Very possible. Both jammers picking up points in that jam. Actually quite a low-scoring jam.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the body, what's the word I'm looking for here? Body, it's gone from me.
I can't help you, man.
No, it's but language. There it is. God, that hurt. So what a word to forget, language.
Irony.
The body language of the French skaters as they leave the track was tired, dejected, and the Welsh skaters still heads high, confident, not breathing too heavy. And it looks like it's telling on track that the French skaters are definitely having a tougher time of it.
So by the looks of things, we've got Osborne and the cleaner. It's those contract killers back on track in up to jam. This may be a standout moment for me for the weekend.
That time that there were 2 contract killers on the jam.
Yeah.
Just a euphemism for it. Criminal language is interesting, yeah.
Osborne is your lead jammer for this one. The cleaner managing to...
He still had one for inbounds. Glenn More Angry and Cherry Fury both had good views of it. It's like not a look. It was one of those, you can't be sure, you can't give it. And that was some fast footwork from Osborne there. And I've got the sight of that line, and I couldn't be 100% sure.
But like, if you're gonna have 2 refs say, yeah, it is, I'm taking the word of Glenn More Angry and Cherry Fury.
Oh yeah.
I'm not disputing that one iota.
This is the thing. So I'm going to be a bench manager soon. I will have this caliber ref. I'll have to bench manage. Like, how would I feel with an official review against these sorts of referees? Like, can I question this? It's like, do you think you can question this? Do you think you know the rules well enough? It's like, I don't know. Maybe.
You're just going to go sit down now. However,
it has been called by.
It's been an official review called, so somebody's okay with it.
I think it's obviously a call by Team France here because they're going to be so sure that was, and it was fast feet, and I think it's going to be a case of maybe, but we can't be sure, so we can't give it.
No, absolutely. It's if in doubt,
you have to side with the skater. You can't give a penalty unless you're 100% sure. Them's the rules.
But that mighty fine dazzle, they're in there and they're discussing this. Of course, once the outcome of this is decided, we will let you know how it plays out.
We have got 9 minutes and 8 seconds left on the clock. Scores are pretty much Wales scoring 2 points for every one of France's. We have 2 skaters unfortunately ejected for France, and they're currently here, I believe, looking for a penalty to be called on Red 79 from Wales, Osborne, to see if they can probably get him out on a cut track penalty. We obviously will still wait for the results of this review. This is an interesting game, and I think this is a torch passing moment. I mean, a year ago, if you'd had this tournament, I think France would have probably come second. 2 years ago, definitely. I mean, at the World Cup, I believe France placed much higher than Wales. I mean, this is a diminished French side. We can't take that away from them. They are diminished here. There's no Furio or Kylian David, as he goes by for his international. There's no Braveheart. Some of the muscle from Pan Am's missing. There's no pass in this game either.
Yes.
That's very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting going into the final game of the tournament, which is Wales versus England, where we will decide the winner by the looks of things.
I can confirm that our assumption was correct. France were querying a straddle on Osborne coming along that straightaway. It was concluded that was not the case. No call stands.
Yeah, again, if you're going to question some referees, Glenn More Angry and Cherry Fury, it's a difficult one. Oh, Paul Dance goes for a cut as Swifty heads the bin as well. And Paul Dance gets himself an in-sub. Why is it that I was just like thinking, Paul Dance is probably going to get my nod for Team France, and then he in-subs. Clutterbuck did it, and now Dance, and Paul Dance looks quite dejected with himself. And I'm now going to have to go back to looking at Team France here to pick who I want for MVP. That's his foul out. That's why he's the cut and the in-sub, that's his 7, though. That's why he looks so sad about it. That is a shame there for Mr. Dance. That has been very, very good today, but this is the time for Wales to really just annihilate here, because they've got 2 minutes of unanswered jam. And if their bench manager is aware of that, they will communicate shortly. There it is.
There it is.
Ben, you've got 2 minutes. It's fine.
Skarenex bagging himself a cutting penalty. That's
Yeah.
not where you want to be for France. Skarenex, as said it before, say it again, has had a brilliant weekend.
There's Angry Bear, though, and he lets him whiff. Phillips just stops dead. Angry Bear goes skating nearly into Glenmore Angry in the NSO table. Although
Nice
Canard
take
Hero does
off.
excellent.
Nice.
Jenkins comes straight in, though, but that's the pack bridge forward. Freaky Vincent goated at the back, and
Ben
That's
Phillips
cold.
opting to call that jam there.
okay. Maybe he was tired. I mean, I'd have looked for the pivot. It's a comfortable win here for Wales,
Yeah.
but there was a chance here to make a statement, and maybe they're just now starting to think, well, we've got England later on, and that's going to be a tough
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Like, this is 95-point lead. This is nearly unassailable here.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 6 minutes and 40 remaining.
Yeah.
It's a reasonably foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a massive change in fortunes here for the Welsh to fall apart and cause problems, but something's happened.
Team timeout for Wales.
Yeah, Jones came sprinting off the track though, like something had gone wrong with his knee. It's his pad. It's his pad that's broke. Right, okay.
Okay.
Osborne, though, straight away takes it out. I'll take out. It's fine.
I'm fairly certain if he's got some issues with his kit, he's probably got a teammate that could sort him out with that.
Probably. I believe he's currently sat down completely ignoring the situation, though.
Just
It's nice and helpful of him. One of the Welsh skaters runs his own kit shop, and it's not helpful. Just sits there like...
he's almost sort of just turned away. It's just like, no, it's fine.
No,
It's fine.
I won't help you. You didn't buy it from me. And you've got, obviously, it's an interesting Welsh squad. If I remember right, I believe Mr. Clutterbuck is a physio, I believe. Well, he's stretching out, sorting out a chronic shoulder. Chronic has the best name for all of his chronic injuries. It's his actual surname, and that man pretty much is falling apart constantly.
Brilliant. Well, not brilliant. But
No.
It's
just amusing.
yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Back on with the action. Rhys Jones and Charlotte, your jammers, having a little bit of cuddle off the jammer line there. And I believe...
Oh, but that's gone to France's favour.
Yep, Charlotte.
No. Oh.
Charlotte being gifted a forearms penalty. I don't know if he didn't hear or if there was reason.
Yeah, I didn't hear the whistle for the first one, but he's got the in-sub as well.
Yep, so that's going to be a minute power jam for Jones right now.
Again, this is just exactly not what France wanted, but this is exactly what I expected to happen. The Welsh drag you into it. They beat you with experience. Apart from Canada. They couldn't do it to Canada.
No.
That was Statman's quote. The Welsh think they're tough, the Canadians are tough. And that was the big difference maker there. It's true, though. I mean, I watched that game and just watched the Welsh try everything they normally do and fall apart. They couldn't break down Canada. They couldn't get the Canadians to fall into their game style.
Yeah.
And once they couldn't bring them to that, and Canada had the skill set to just dominate.
Spider Biscott heading to the penalty box for a multiplayer block, meaning it's just Dr. Rouge and Skarenex on track, managing to get themselves back together from that go-to position. Jones, however, makes his way through for a Grand Slam pass. Burrows clearing Skarenex off that outside line. Plenty of space for Jones to get through for another scoring pass.
Again, that's the experience that Burrows brings to any game. The man's been skating longer than half these guys have been alive. You remember that. There are skaters here in this tournament who weren't alive when Burrows first started to skate.
Yeah.
That
Mirage picking up a low block. France hemorrhaging blockers at the moment. Penalties left, right, and centre.
This is this is the South Wales style of game, and it works.
You called it, man.
If you fall into their game, they will beat you with experience. They do it every time, and the only way to stop them is to not get drawn in, and that is such a difficult thing to do. It's not something you can do on track. You have to be prepared for it.
Yes.
It's the reason why New World Order are one of the few teams who can do it, because that's their style of play.
Yeah.
They don't play the aggressive game, and because of that, they upset a lot of higher ranked teams because they don't fall into that traditional men's derby style of game. But off to the bin goes Ashton, who Yeah, he's moving okay. I thought he was moving a little slowly at first, and we might be carrying something, but he's okay. Phillips out lead jammer though. Skips through the infield, does 1-6-3-1 the cleaner.
Phillips through 4 points, waiting and watching for the cleaner to get inches away from that pack before calling the jam. There's that little
time measurement control going on. Swifty heading to the bin as Wales going to be starting this jam with a 2-on-1 blocker disadvantage. So Charlie got a chance here to pick up some points for France. Just 2 to get them into triple digits will probably help them loads.
They've been sat on that 98 for 4 or 5 jams now. Meanwhile, Wales have stretched out that lead further, broken that double century 2-2-5 to 98.
Yeah, this is unfortunately again the depleted French team. They've lost 2 to ejections, 1 to injury, missing some big name skaters for them. Someone has just lost, I believe Carl has just lost a piece of his skate on corner 4. I will try and get someone to clock that before someone skips onto it and loses himself to an injury.
Charlicourt managing to acquire a no pass, no penalty, 4 points through the pack. Osborne picking up that cut track straight away.
Scarenex very happy he's finally gone.
Duncan Disorderly clocking that straight off the bat, calling that with precision and speed.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned that Charlie Crowe might have a skate malfunction. He did lose what looked like to be a bearing cover. Or a washer, maybe.
We have had a couple of skate malfunctions this
weekend. An entire truck was lost yesterday.
I was filming that game, and I just saw the movement below the screen that I was observing on. It was quite troubling just to see this pair of wheels rolling across the infield.
Angry Bear. Oh, that's... Angry Bear went down. Unfortunately, had Swifty land on his head.
That's not.
And he lost his glasses, but they look to be okay.
And he's dutifully picked them up from the infield, making his way to the penalty box.
Mary. Looks like someone lost a washer or a bearing cover at corner 4. Someone lost a washer or a bearing cover at corner 4. Let's see. It's about corner 4. Just sending in one of my co-announcers to check for that washer or bearing cover. You might see him on camera now looking for it. He's found it. Yep. Takes a knee. What was it? That is...
I think that's a rivet from some shorts.
Yeah, that's okay. We just weren't sure. I don't want anyone to have a skate explode. I have seen someone's bearing explode on track before.
Same.
Yeah.
I when the Quads of War played Crash Test Brummies earlier this year at the Thunderdome, I think third jam in, Dueling Danjo had an exploder skate.
Ooh.
Kingpin went, but it basically resulted in the
everything
better part.
fall apart.
Yeah. Although had the forethought of mind to hop back on track, hand the helmet cover to our pivot Stevel, while Mugs and Kisses cleaned up the debris and sent him off track.
Oh, Mugs and Kisses, always happy to help clean up.
He's a brilliant guy.
Well, I think was it Jones or Ashby who had their skate explode yesterday? I can't remember. It was one of them. A bearded Welshman.
It's a broad selection.
Yeah,
let's be
one
honest.
of who jams. A bearded Welshman who jams.
Yeah.
His truck fell off, and he did the same thing. He sort of skated on 6 wheels, handed off the pivot. The jam started the pivot and crawled back off. Just waiting for clarification for this official review. Out of play issued after the cut call stands. There we go. Out of play. Thank you very much, Scarbarella. The loudest referee I've ever heard.
Really?
I've been one end of the track. She's been at the other end of the track in the OPR position, and I'm basically a foot away from the OPR lane. And I've heard her call name, number, colour, penalty clearly, every word.
Nice. Gotta love our agents of stripe.
Indeed. Oh, stumble down on the outfield. Clutterbuck on track. Doesn't want to pick up another penalty. He is on 6.
So
no pass, no penalty.
There we go. Ben Phillips, your lead jammer, looks like he's doing that clock running again. He's just skating reasonably casually behind the cleaner.
Oh, beautiful shoulder check by Clover. The cleaner is not lead jammer. He's gone. He thought he was in control and he did the little butterfly taps. That was explosive by Clutterbuck.
Yeah. And that literally came out of nowhere. There wasn't any real big build up to that hit.
It's just that again lifts Angry Bear off his skates.
I mean, Clutterbuck's a pretty slight guy,
It's
when he gets low and it's the power coming from his legs.
It's the mechanics of it, the actual physical mechanics of the human body. Again, just punches that shoulder into the cleaner, spins him, and does enough, but takes himself out on that one. It's frightening how much power that quite slim gentleman can generate. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to talk to him about that. Oh! There's Chronic just tipping him over. The poor Dr. Whoosh being sent to the floor hard. And a lovely little affectionate tap of the pans. Like, nicely done.
Just a little bit. Just
a little bit. I think this is going to be the last one. There's change on the clock. 6 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
There it is.
Ladies, gentlemen, all others, that is full time on this game.
This is not what anyone expected.
Definitely not.
I can't think of a single one stat man.
Yeah.
God, that's a close one for him. What's that? Let's do the quick maths. That's 123 points. So going to the predictables predictions. I Facebook hard here because I didn't write any of these down because I'm an idiot.
We are Totes Profesh.
Totes Profesh. There we go. Ooh. Muckety Muck came in at 138 with his prediction for Wales to win by.
Wow.
He is the closest.
Fair enough, Muckety Muck.
Well done. He's been doing this a lot longer than us, though.
Yes, this is very true.
Unfortunately, Holly Sheet there completely out. As was I.
Was Holly more out than me?
Well, she thought Wales might win by 20, so she's at least getting the point for the win. You're getting nothing.
Right, we can confirm your official final scores. France 116, but Wales ran away with that dogfight, 239.
Next up, we have Wagland versus Frotland, which is Wales and England versus France and Scotland for the next game. A little pickup game, good little space. After that, it will be Scotland versus France, and then the last game of the tournament is, of course, England versus Wales, which will be the decider, I believe, for who wins 4 Nations.
That way.
Right, I have been Captain Mouse alongside, again, the wonderful Snoogans, and that is all for now.